Hi, I'm Sam, welcome to my channel. Last week it was announced that the military are going to be scrapping equipment early, up to the value of around £500 million. However, we are facing increasing global threats. So there's going to be ships, drones and helicopters, some more than 50 years old, will be decommissioned ahead of schedule, which was announced in the Commons. But the critics say that the move would leave the UK defence weaker, which it potentially would, but we'll go into that as the video progresses. Within a time of increasing international global tensions. Now, Shadow Defence Secretary James Cartledge said Labour was scrapping capabilities just as the threats to our nation are actually growing. Now, the government says that the move will help the implementation of the Strategic Defence Review, due to report back next year. I think I made a video on that. But what is being scrapped? So we got 2 amphibious assault ships, which is Albion and Bulwark, a Type 23 frigate, Northumberland, 2 tankers, Wave Knight and Wave Ruler, the Watchkeeper drone, 14 Chinooks and 17 Puma helicopters. Now, with regards to Bulwark and Albion, they're already being held at lower levels of readiness and were not planned to go out to sea before their planned retirement. However, that's a planned retirement. And say we do end up going to war with Russia, those ships could quite, especially because they're amphibious assault ships, they could quite easily be prepared for war. Now, if they scrap them, we have nothing to take their place at this moment in time. So yes, it does leave the defence weaker. Also, the decommissioned ships will be replaced, however, by Type 26 frigates in a multi-role support ships, but those aren't expected to be done within several years. Several years within the government, that could be 10 years, especially with the issues we've had with army procurement as well, and the wagons that they tried to bring in that just were not fit for purpose, and everything takes time, and there's always a huge loss of money. And by scrapping these ships earlier, without things being for their replacement, I think you are in for not a smooth ride at all. The Chinook and Puma helicopters, they've been retired and have been in use for decades. The Pumas will be replaced by the new Airbus H145 in 2026, while the Chinooks will be replaced by the newer H47 variant the following year, 2027. But critics pointed to the gap to argue that the Royal Air Force would have fewer helicopters until the replacements were introduced, which they obviously would. And of course, you need training helicopters as well to teach people to fly. And that's exactly the same with the Army Air Corps. So if you do scrap these helicopters early, which move men across the battlefield, then you have a big capability gap. That's obvious, and that might not be filled. It says 26, 27, that could be 28 or 29. There's no replacement for the Watchkeeper drone. Now, I know with regards to drone technology, it's rapidly advancing. So they haven't made a plan to replace that yet. However, hopefully they will in the future. Now, the cuts indicate that the MOD are hemorrhaging money big time and having big funding pressures on them. But these are mostly capability gaps that are approaching retirement anyway and have been at low levels of readiness and aren't worth further refits or investment. But the fact that the defence either can't crew them or is prepared to cut them to make very modest savings over 5 years is an indication of just how tight resources must be in the MOD right now. So that's looking at so many things. You're looking at recruitment and retention. So they may be able to get rid of these ships because there's no one to man them, and therefore it's just wasted, whereby even if we did go to war, you might actually need conscription for people to man these ships, and if they're not being used, then it does make more sense clearly to get rid of them, which then just leaves a big capability gap, whereby we've got a capability gap where we don't have ships, and we've got the capability gap that we don't have any manpower. So then what happens with the new capability that they're bringing in? Are they looking forward enough into the future with regards to recruitment and retention? But I think that there are difficult decisions to be made with this, and the government have clearly seen this as a money saving exercise rather than a capability advancement exercise. So we will have a look at the Strategic Defence Review, which, if they're just looking at saving money, that's not very strategic. You should be pouring more money into our defence forces if you are looking at things strategically. However, they might be putting more money into other parts of defence of the country with regards to cyber attack and cyber defence. So are these cuts a good thing? I think you should be looking at whether the 500 million is going to be good in the long term, if we are going to be able to get the equipment in time should something happen within Russia or within Europe, which probably won't at this moment in time. However, strategically, I can't see it being a good thing. But everything is all just about saving money for the governments, unfortunately. But if you do have any views on this video, please just leave a comment in the comment section below, and I always try to get back to them all. Take care. Bye.